All, thanks for joining me here at the Texas Linux Fest. This is Swetha Garaga. I'm currently working as a senior software developer at Fluid, who works on point-of-sale applications. I have 11 years of software development experience, and during my career, I had an opportunity to work for KPI Systems, who make warehouse management systems. And today, we are here to discuss about automation in warehouse industry, how it's transforming the way we work, and there is another side of it, which is affecting humans or the workers up there. And now when I say warehouse industry, you might already have thought like robots buzzing down the aisles and AI tracking inventory and stuff like that. That is partly true, but there is another perspective to it. And I would like to show you some interesting video that I have worked on when I was at KPI. So this work we have done for Zeek Logistics, and let's watch it.
Logistics used to pick by paper, so they would walk up and down aisles picking orders by paper. AutoStore now brings the product to them instead of them going to the product, so it makes pick rates much more efficient.
Seeing that technology work to where it makes the pick and pack process so simple that it's almost foolproof. It was nice to see. I wish I used it 15 years ago.
AutoStore is an automatic storage and retrieval system that reduces traditional warehouse storage facilities like rack storage into about 30 to 40% of the square footage.
It's a cube-based system. There's no wasted space. It's all bins and access from the top, and then bins are delivered to ports. So the overhang here gives us a lot of density of how many ports we can put on the one side, and then allows all the robots to service those ports. The future of automation is not about eliminating or taking away jobs. It's about making the labor force that you do have more efficient, to be able to get the work done. People aren't walking around trying to find these locations, get tired throughout the day. They're just staying in a general box, keeps them moving faster.
So those are the screens that the operators are working on. Those were designed by us, like our team. And as one of our members said, the KPI, how it is transforming this. It's not about displacing the workers, but it's about it's being inclusive and equitable and making more use of their intellect and capabilities. And today we'll discuss why Linux and open source systems play a critical role in transforming these systems or make these systems not just efficient, but also equitable, inclusive, and human-centered. So our agenda will be, I'll walk you through how automation is transforming global supply chains, and then the next would be, we'll take a look at human impacts. What are the real costs and opportunities that the workers are facing? Next, I'll show how open source and Linux are at the heart of this transformation, and we'll all discuss a path forward to make these systems more inclusive rather than replacing them. And warehouses are the backbones of global supply chains. When you're getting a same-day delivery or when you're able to track packages across continents, we are relying basically on these warehouses or the distribution centers that are heavily powered by automation. So when as we all know, warehouse industry has gone a massive transformation, especially with the rise in e-commerce after the pandemic. Warehouses, everything like the demand for supply, the demand for scalability, everything pushed warehouses to go through automation at an unprecedented rates. Now we are able to see that robots are tracking packages, AI is tracking inventory, and predictive algorithms are now able to optimize logistics. So this is all in terms of we are basically looking at how this is transforming the industry and how it is transforming the way we work. And here are some numbers from my research across different papers, which said there was a survey that was conducted. It's a multi-country survey across 57 distribution centers. And it shows with the automation, there was an average workforce reduction of 38.4%. And who are hit hard? Entry-level positions, of course, because these are the positions that require minimal training and most vulnerable when automation hits hard. And at the same time, these systems delivered remarkable improvements. Faster throughput, we are able to get better inventory accuracy and big cost reductions. So in many ways, automation feels like it's a magic. It's beyond what mechanization. It's how things move throughout the world. But efficiency numbers only tell you half of the story here. There's another side to it. And the real question to ask here is what is happening to people or the workers that are working up there? For every new robot that we put in our warehouses, for every line of code we are writing, we are basically reshaping lives of number of workers. So to really understand the impact, we have to look at some real numbers, as we have already discussed in the previous slide. That with that survey, there were like 1,700 workers who experienced automation firsthand across different roles and different skills. There are some statistics that were pulled down. What's really happening to workers at warehouses that have undergone transformation or automation. So the first thing is the workforce displacement reality. We have already discussed that there is a 38.4% workforce reduction, and the roles that were hit were the entry-level positions. But what is happening is only 21.3% of those displaced workers were able to get into new technical roles that automation has created. Basically, this is because all those technical roles that were created require digital literacy, systems thinking, and troubleshooting those automated systems or the robots, these are the skills that most warehouse workers were never been exposed to in their lifetime. So this transition challenge definitely calls for a need for comprehensive training that could bridge gap between traditional warehouse skills and emerging technical requirements. And there is a growing wage disparities between workers in a warehouse. So basically the people who have transitioned into technical roles were able to get $38 per hour, like they were able to bump up their wages. Whereas the people who are doing the manual work were still in the stagnant wage, and they were not able to, even though demand for productivity increased, their wages were still stagnant. So what is this creating? This is basically creating a two-tier workforce at warehouses. One group rising to the top with higher wages and security, whereas the other group is still stagnant, and they're still doing the physically demanding jobs, but with stagnant wages and lesser stability. So this definitely calls for some training sessions here at warehouses. And I want us all to remember one thing, that for most of the communities, these are not just, these warehouse jobs are not just temporary gigs. Those are their economic backbone, they are their career paths, and if automation hits them or automation displaces them, it's their families and neighborhoods that are getting more affected. So yes, automation brings efficiency, but left unchecked, it could increase the inequality in a warehouse. So, which brings us to the real question here. Can we design systems that can include people and are built around human needs and capabilities and using human intellect and not like replacing them? So this is where I think Linux and open source system comes into picture. So most of the warehouses today, the one that I've showed is a proprietary software by KPI, but I cannot talk about that, but most of the warehouses are built on the open source foundations, right? So the frameworks, the kernels, and the architectural designs are all inspired by the work done in communities like this one. So that means we are not just the bystanders in this transformation, but we are the architects here. And there are three main principles that we are really interested in shaping this transformation into a more useful thing. One of them being transparency, the other being collaboration, and the other one will be equity. So when we talk about transparency, as code is open, even the decision making is open, right? We do have the freedom to incorporate people's decisions here. And this makes us easy to design systems that are not just efficient, but also for openness. And we communities can bring together technologists, policymakers, and even workers that are working there, and get them involved in designing these automated systems. And then comes the equity. So open innovation allows us to design these systems around human needs and make them more accessible to people, and also include some training sessions for the workforce development. And we have also actually seen some examples from the study that when we combine both human and robot systems, there is definitely an increase in the throughput, which is 41.7% by combining both of them. And we can also make the robots do more stressful, repetitive, exhausting jobs, and that will reduce the walking distances that usually the workers walk around. So it reduces it by 67.3%. And we can make, with proper training to workers, we can elevate the human roles. We can make them more dignified and use more, so workers can use more problem-solving functions, and they can do more problem-solving and creative thinking. So this collaborative approach has been proven to get some results, good results. And here is the key. Those designs do not work they are not done in isolation. They are done in code bases. They are done in design philosophies that each of our open contributors work on. So that means the open source community has real power here. And of course, technology alone cannot change everything. So there will be some investment that we have to put on workers, which is comprehensive training programs. So I feel like warehouse automation shouldn't be coming with pink slips, but with some upskilling programs. So there is a study that was conducted where warehouse workers went through 160 plus hours of training from Linux administration to troubleshooting these automated systems. And it appears to be there is, for every dollar invested in training, there was a $4.23 return on investment that was generated. And it also increased the retention of the workers. 58.4% of turnover reduction has been shown. And also all of these workers who have gone through the training were able to get like a new job or get into a new job in under 120 days. So, I mean, as I already said, this is not like a charity or a social cause that we are doing for workforce development. This is definitely proven return on investment programs. And we as an open source community, I think have to, members of open source community have to now invest in or lower our barriers and make our systems more modular, our tools more accessible, and our documents more inclusive at this point. Also, if government can be involved in some tax incentive programs and change the educational curriculum to involve some of these trainings, then we could definitely see it bump up. And so what is our role in doing this? So it is very clear that we have to come up with a new wave into automation, which is inclusive innovation. So there is already, with the training thing, there is already Ocado, which is a UK-based grocer. They have already combined these robots and human workers, and they have seen an increase in throughput, and most of the workers were involved in the tasks that require dexterity and more problem-solving skills, whereas robots did all the repetitive, exhausting work, and they were able to see a higher returns. And that's a proven study, and we can actually learn from this model, definitely. And when I say inclusive innovation, what can we do? We can design our systems around human needs and capabilities and around human intellect, and maybe make our tools more accessible to diverse groups, which means we do have all the tools available, and with the right tools, we can make them even available for people with disabilities. Like take augmented systems, for example. We can guide people for people with language barriers, we can use them with vision. They can use their vision to guide. Augmented systems can use to guide the people with language barriers. There's no problem of language there. And always, I think we shouldn't be looking at the success as outcome, like cost reduction. We have to measure it holistically. Like, more, are we including people around us and not displacing them? So I think this is where open source shines, because when systems are built in open, we have the ability to not just create frameworks for corporations, but for communities. And let me leave you with the start. The real question is not whether machines are going to replace us. I think the real question here is, can we design systems that are including people than replacing them and discarding them? So, as members of Linux and open source community, we are not just writing code, but we are changing the future of work, right? So every architectural design we do, every kernel patch we take, or every framework that we design, I think it has some human consequence attached to it. So my call for you all is, let's make it let's make systems which are efficient, but also more equitable, like involved and inclusive. Let's make warehouse, like automation and warehouse, more like for optimizing the warehouses, like make code for optimizing the warehouses, yes, but also to uplift the workers who make global supply chain possible. That's it. Thank you. I know this is not a working session, but hopefully this is some food for our thought. And I couldn't bring any robots or anything or a cubic storage that I could show you like a demo of what I did, but hopefully, any questions, concerns? Yeah.
So a while back, I read a book called On the Clock, and it was the person who got a job at an Amazon fulfillment center.
Mm-hmm.
She had said, basically, they just put Tylenol and ibuprofen everywhere because everybody's walking around and how painful. So I just wondered, when you showed the slide about we've reduced walking
Mm-hmm.
rate,
Mm-hmm.
in the industry, is there concern for reducing injuries or maybe monitoring workers or anything?
From my research, yes, I saw that that was the case. Because they do heavy lifting, and not all of them could go to gym and do some strength training, right? So, from my research, yeah, it was proven that there were a lot of injuries, and also from where I worked, like that's what pushed them towards automating their warehouses. Not that I won't say that is the only reason. Space constraints was another reason. That's why they went for cubic storage. That way they can stack up bins one on one and store many things. But yeah, that is also one raising concern, I would say. Yeah.
On one of your slides, you talked about the skills that the workers need to move from the level of just doing manual labor
Mm-hmm.
to working with the robots or whatever other automation. You talked about like troubleshooting, Linux skills,
Yeah.
and you talked also about like systems thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then on another slide, you talked about the return on investment being like a 1 to 4 engineer.
$4. Mm-hmm.
So was that training about those three things?
Yes. So yeah, that was the comprehensive training I was talking about, like investing in their training. So to train the manual workers, for every dollar that they invested in, they were able to get the $4 in it, and probably with the workforce retention, that they're not moving anywhere or they're not losing their jobs, and we are able to get like the throughput was the outcome that came from having a comprehensive training and having them collaboratively like work together. That was.
And then a follow on to that. So your aim then is to, as developers, to develop software that people can easily make that jump then? Because it seems like an almost monumental jump from like a warehouse worker to somebody who can rapidly gain Linux skills or...
So yeah, I'm not saying like all the manual workers do have the skills to get into Linux administration or learn about robots. I'm not saying like all of them could grasp it, but at least if from like, our education system, unfortunately, like we do not learn a lot of these, skills like as basic skills. We only get to learning these only if we are interested in getting into that stream, right? So what I'm saying is like if there are any for these workers, like if there are any tax incentives on these programs and offer the curriculum, like educational curriculum itself, like if that could change, and training like basic Linux administration, you have to know this, you have to be able to, I'm not saying like completely monitoring the robots or anything, but basic education. And then once we get into the jobs and now things are changing, they could easily grasp certain things, right? Like, I mean, a little of, they may not be like the superpower or like they grasp everything, but at least some training would help them in transitioning. Other than like they are left out, we are leaving behind without any training, and they're not able to take up any new technical jobs. So they're like they cannot get into any other company as well, because a lot of companies or a lot of warehouses are now going towards automation. I don't think we'll see like people physically picking up things or goods anytime like in the future.
Couple of questions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One for that sort of training tail as long as the workers, at least from your observations or research, have you found that like if they advertise that as sort of like a perk or some sort of like benefit, has that been sort of a, is there any response back?
I couldn't see anything like, as you said, advertising. It is the company's interest in training them, right? Like, I mean, we do not have anything outside of the warehouses to actually advertise this. But yeah, if companies push towards it, like all of those employees know you have to get this, then that would definitely help. But I do not see anything outside of the warehouses or like training them. I mean, if you're really interested in it, we do have like, we have Linux administration separately outside of it. But if we don't advertise them, I don't think warehouse workers will invest on themselves for training these, right? Unless the company says, hey, you can reimburse that amount that you spent on training or things like that. Yeah, so if we, that was one of my point, like we have to make the documentation more open or more inclusive for them. So yeah, like the one that I worked on was a proprietary software. So our document was not in the open and not accessible to people. But my intention was if others, like whoever we are as a open source contributor, if we could make our documentation more like, open to people, then maybe they could learn, the people who have interest but cannot spend much more money on like resources could access that and learn few things from there, is what my point was. No, no. So definitely for like when I worked on the warehouses, like those screens that I developed on, those are used like that was done using TypeScript. Like they do not have to dive into the code there, but they at least they will get training on how those systems work. So definitely there was some investment, even though they didn't transition like the whole thing, but they definitely invested in some training all their employees on learning about the portal and how each functions, like picking, replenishment, how things work, how what do you do, what button to click. It's not, for some people they catch it easily, but for some people it requires extensive training and also some pilot programs that they do So there is a batch wise, it's not like pushed into production as soon as we deploy that. It was a step-by-step process. Pilot, they train on those front end, like how do they put up item, how do they top up, and all of that was a training that they invested in. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that pretty much all the things you work for in your work are proprietary software. Are there any industry groups for supply chain or warehousing that are like standards? Like if I wanted to get an idea of what this was as a hobbyist or enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
could I look at something like CC, like the, cloud native computing? Is there something like that for warehouses or supply chains where I could see like software projects that they sponsor or anything like that?
Our company has only case studies, but I don't think because it's a proprietary, it's not exposed or anything. But I don't think, sorry, I do not know, but there might be. But I could look it up and share.
I'm just wondering if there was some sort of like shared standards.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, totally get it. Yeah, sorry. Cool. Any other questions, concerns, or inputs?
So, with more things being automated, and one of the things you mentioned was we'd attempt to get the warehouse, the people who are doing manual work,
Mm-hmm.
we'd attempt to get them roles where either they're kind of managing the operations
Mm-hmm.
in some form, or they're doing the work that needs dexterity which is not yet available by the automation. Um, but given that automation and robotics is catching up, right? That dexterity, the things which require human dexterity, especially where the warehouse things that are packaged for automation
Mm-hmm.
more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So the dexterity need is less and less being eliminated. And then also with software, the people who are making the software are trying to make the software so that it requires less management.
That's
So
right.
that it automatically will heal itself and manage itself mostly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of aren't the folks who try to learn and come up to speed kind of having to continually be in this uncertainty.
That's right? Like, I mean, even for us, even for not just warehouse workers, but even for us, it's a continuous learning, unfortunately, with the emerging technology. Like, every day, everything is changing. We just cannot rely on our old skills and be like, hey, we know everything. Really, I mean, until I came here, this is my first time being here. And yesterday, I learned like a lot of new things, right? Like, I mean, if we just in a shell, if we are being in a shell, we don't get to know what's happening outside. So same thing applies across all industries, I guess, that a continuous learning is something that we need. And I don't think we can do anything about it unless we learn new things every day. Maybe, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, I feel like it's a continuous learning effort that we have to put in.
So among the workers who are doing things in the warehouse, did you notice anything about who may be more successful and is there any neuroplasticity kind of perspectives on this and how to improve that?
I felt like a basic education who has like and the zeal to learn things were able to catch up onto these new upgrades that we were doing, because we had like UI upgrade every like couple of months and we were deploying new systems, and I was able to see like the workers who had that basic education helped because they were able to catch up things much faster than the ones who just did like that manual, like picking up things, dropping it up in the bins and stuff like that. But I would say like basic education and this zeal to learn new things is definitely helpful in learning new things and new upgrades.
You say basic education, is that like high school?
When I mean, at least some system knowledge is what I'm talking, digital literacy.
Oh.
Yeah. Any other questions? Mhm.
One, would you consider like a bar for digital literacy, being able to use Microsoft Office as like a bar for saying this person should have?
So, interestingly, like not just Microsoft Office, like yeah, for reading documents, that definitely helps because we do provide like what's being done in this upgrade. We have done so and so. So they definitely need that knowledge to be able to go through the documents and understand what has changed from the other build to this build. But even with the systems up there, so when the bin comes, like when to hit the, the buttons up there, like, you have an item, place the item, hit the button, the bin goes over, the next bin comes. Even that knowledge, some people didn't have, and they would raise defects around that, saying, hey, you said you fixed this, but I'm still seeing this issue. So go back to the document, refer to it. It says after the item is placed, hit the button. So people are so like, in a hurry. They want to do things in a faster pace. Again, throughput. So they do things not in the order, and then they say, hey, you didn't fix it. So things like that used to happen to us, and we are like, okay, we had to look at a video recording and understand what people were doing wrong there. So it is that knowledge that they were lacking, like, things that need more training on. No worries. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For the workers that got training on the block, it was kind of a subset to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was explaining that there's like the whole backend system, not just the GUI, giving them a little bit of multi-purpose knowledge.
Not everyone were given the training on the bots management or the backend systems. No. Only some of the people there managed those robots, but a lot of the people were working on this front end, the portal, and just their manual tasks. They would pick up an item from not a grid based, but they would pick up an item and put it in the bin. Now it's not that. The bins would come to you, different ports. So that training was given to some people, and who had more robot troubleshooting skills, they were given the opportunity to troubleshoot the robots and stuff. And sometimes when they couldn't fix it, the art team from our company would go and troubleshoot them.
So, to figure out who should attempt the management, operation management, or other things, did you do any kind of aptitude tests?
That I wasn't sure, but definitely they might have, because they cannot just pick people and train them on the back end, right? So they should at least have some. They might have done some aptitude test to learn what skill level they are on. Yeah, but I wasn't really sure on what has been done at their level. But yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Mm-hmm.
Do you have any references that you recommend for systems thinking and learning troubleshooting skills?
Myself, I cannot answer from troubleshooting of the robots, because I didn't do any of those things like that. I mean, I can only answer from a front end, like I'm a Java full stack developer, so I did what all on the that was on the screen. So I can only give from that perspective. So whenever they had some issues on the screen, because we make mistakes too, and if the screen isn't functional, I would ask them for at least was able to get some console logs from the web page that they were trying to load, and things like that. That would help developers at least to see what's going on on the front end, and they should have minimum knowledge, like to pull the logs from the system and able to give us the workers up there. That helps in. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here.